We don't all play D&D for the same reason, and I think that's pretty common sense. In this video, I want to explore the 7 different types of players listed in the GM's Guide, and talk about what they are wanting and how to better interact with them. This isn't a list of bad players or good players, it's just the 7 different major schools, if you will, of how or why people play. They are the actor, the explorer, the instigator, the fighter, the optimizer, the problem solver, and the storyteller. I think it's also good to note here that your players will not solely fall into one of these categories. Most of them will fall into many, but it's safe to say that they will probably have a favorite playstyle. The actor is someone who plays because they enjoy playing a role or character. These are your Romeo and Juliets. They usually do a voice and prefer talking out encounters instead of fighting if possible. They like situations that give them opportunity to develop their character or put their character on display. These things will help engage your actor. Try to give role-playing options for combat encounters. This can be as simple as allowing a role-play check, persuasion, intimidate, deception, to end an encounter early, not requiring every enemy to actually be slain. For instance, the party rolls into a cavern full of goblins. A few goblins are slain, and when it's the barbarian's turn, they charge into the middle of the room and roll, declaring death and mayhem on the remaining goblins and their families. The barbarian makes his check, and the remaining goblins run, tails between their legs. Things that will disengage your actor are constant combat and hand-waving dialogues. The explorer is the player who wants to see and experience everything. These are your Lewis and Clarks. They will overturn every rock and check every door because they can't miss out on finding something legendary. These players will love it when you give them detailed descriptions of what's in front of them. They also really like maps and other props that add to their immersion. Another tip is laying hints or clues like breadcrumbs that can be about the location the party needs to go to, or for a mostly unknown beast guarding a lair, etc. The payoff they get from figuring it out will make them giddy. A quick way to turn off your explorer is to rush or hand-wave travel. Even just giving a short, lifeless description can leave them disappointed.
Oh yeah!
Instigators are pushers of action. These are your Kool-Aid mans jumping through the walls. They want action and drama, and they want it now. These are the people that will keep the story going, but also can be the ones you need to rein in because they can take away the experiences of others, for instance the explorer. The explorer wants to do overland travel and have random encounters because the journey is part of the adventure, while the instigator just wants to warp to the destination. If you have both these players, you will need to find a balance somewhere here. Things that will help keep the instigator engaged are creating situations where you can affect the scenario or outcome. I think they will generally do this themselves, but be ready for it and allow it to happen when it's not detrimental. Also, tempting them to do things can sometimes be rewarding, but things that will turn them off are railroading or hamstringing them. Sometimes they push the limit and they will need to be pulled back though, but fully removing their agency will totally take them out of the game. The fighter is a butt-kicking machine. These are your Rambos. In their eyes, words are for the weak, and any problem can be solved with a sword. These guys will shine when combat happens, and will be most engaged when this happens as well. To keep them engaged, be very expressive and descriptive for combat, especially during their turn. Also, throwing gobs of weak mobs at them will make them feel powerful. They are an easy bunch to please because they just need combat with some consistency. Things that will take them out of the game are not having combat. If you have a whole session without combat, these guys are pretty much dead because they will have died from boredom. Also, the descriptive part is always a nice bone to throw for them. They don't always just want to hear, okay, yeah, 17 hits, okay, 7 damage, is your turn over? The optimizer, sometimes known as the min-maxer, is a well-tuned machine. These are your Achilles players, but they will have replaced their heals with rocket launchers. They will have their characters planned out to level 20, and the campaign ends at level 5. They can be similar to the fighter in that they like combat, but it's for different reasons. The optimizer wants to dominate and show their superiority through their resourcefulness and their research and planning. A way to give your optimizer what they want is to give them access to magic items. They don't have to be given out like candy, but they should be available in some way. Also, since these players are very numbers driven, give them quantifiable rewards. They will also prefer session XP over milestone. Ways to disengage them is to take away their niche, like making a boss immune to grappling when they built a grappler build, or removing a chance for their growth by not allowing a certain magic item in the world. The problem solver is the ace detective and puzzle solver. These are your Sherlocks. They love unraveling plots and deducing clues. They are usually the first to ask for an insight check when hearing an NPC talk. Just make sure that they don't create red herrings and derail the whole session. To pique their interest, provide a way to give benefits or perks when planning is used. Also, NPCs should have some depth and motivation that they can play upon. Last, don't forget to throw in some puzzles, maybe even ones that are optional, and if completed, will make another part of the adventure later easier. Problem solvers do not like environments where they don't get to think. Simple combats or situations where the outcome is obvious will leave them wanting more, or on their phone. The storyteller obviously loves telling stories, or at least being a significant part of them. These are your Shakespeare players. They are similar to actors in the sense that the narrative is very important to them, but they focus more on the arching story than the character's personal growth. They want to see a grand adventure unfold and take part in the way it plays out. These players can be engaged by allowing their backgrounds to tie to the main storyline, having their character's action drive the storyline, or even allow their character to develop a strong bond with an NPC that can later be used in the story. A way to ruin your storyteller's fun is to make their actions meaningless. Any railroading or hand-waving over plot points will steal the wind beneath their wings. This is just a short list that captures most of the different playstyles. Also, don't forget that no one player is going to perfectly fit into any one of these categories. Most likely they will overlap a couple. Until next time, fellow kobolds, please like and subscribe. Bye bye.